You remember they're changing my voice real quickly to prove my point that white people have an invisible package of unearned social assets. Social assets. Okay? And that they're taking advantage of their network and conceptions of worth, right? Social conceptions of worth. Okay? And their social clubs and so on and so forth. I'm just going to give you really quickly my list of 7 points. We'll wrap this up in a couple minutes. You can watch it over on your again. Think about what you mean by it. I was going to think about what I mean by it. And there you go. You can comment in the comments. I think they're suppressing and interfering with my comments. But, we'll see how this goes. All right. Point number 1. Almost all Americans acknowledge that the government is corrupt. This, by default, means that the economic system is corrupt. They just tend to blame other people and groups, okay, when they acknowledge that the government is corrupt, which is like acknowledging the economic system is corrupt, because that's what it means by default either way. 2, this means that store owners are defending their trickle-down ill-gotten gains while refusing to come together to insist on a fair government, or at least on a fair and effective war on poverty plan. 3, to describe this any other way is to be at least semi-conscious that one is obstructing justice, morally speaking, and not legally speaking. 4, on top of an unappealing school system and a miserable starting position, many poor people suffer from background stressors, including sexual abuse and all sorts of trauma. As the governing class has canceled many cultures over the years, we see systematic and pervasive peer pressure, which often leads to the downfall of many people, especially more vulnerable individuals, which wouldn't have otherwise existed, to that degree at least, if groups of people in the government and corporations and whoever else, hate groups and whatnot, hadn't systematically canceled the most moral and respectable cultures and movements quite often before they started. 5, one must consider the bigger picture and all the obstacles an individual faces while putting justice over one's life and one's family to determine what morally precise justice is for that case and individual and to act on it. Only this allows for the possibility of judging with mental clarity. Okay, you can only achieve mental clarity by having the courage to live a morally precise life. Otherwise, your brain is not functioning the same way. It is the neuroplasticity, the brain wiring, is wiring it to be a bitch's brain that doesn't effectively work, and the mind that accompanies it is not sufficient for leadership or analytics and life decisions, judgments, and so on and so forth. Determining what decisions one should make in regards to what one should do about the injustice that goes on. 6, why do African Americans commit more crimes than most their African counterparts during peaceful times, if not all of them, really? Africans govern better. The die is cast. With all the resources America has to govern black people, why are they behaving in such a poor way compared to, Nigeria, compared to Zimbabwe and Kenya? Why are they behaving the way they are in the American setting if it is only their fault because of their genes or something? Why, with the few resources African governments have, do they govern their population more respectably, more logically, more fairly, in a far superior manner? The die is cast. You can start 100 wars in Africa right now and be like, we're covering it up with the best. It's already cast. History has been written. And you have failed to govern effectively because of your Western arrogance. Also consider technology and resources. Think about Hitler, Stalin, and Leopold. Okay, your governance historically is obviously the worst in history. Who did worse than Hitler, Stalin, and Leopold? Who did worse than the Western governors and their allies who have caused 3 million children to starve to death every year and die of hunger-related issues because of their geopolitical actions? 7, America waged wars all over the world but failed to win the war on drugs. It takes a village to raise a child, and it takes an evil and calculating society to create this many drug addicts in America. Thank you.